What's up, everybody? Derek and John here back. This was stop number 2 on the Crappie Masters in East Texas. This is our little recap. We were here at Toledo Bend, backdoor home water. Got our butts whipped pretty good again, but we had some technical difficulties and things. But overall, it was a good tournament. Lots of fish caught, just wasn't the size. We had terrible fog up until probably 11 o'clock. Literally you couldn't see 25-30 feet in front of the boat. You'll see on the video that about 9:15 or so we hit a stump about the size of the front deck of this boat trying to jump across the river, going a little too fast probably. My navigator wasn't paying attention. But
hey, it was that far underwater, man.
I didn't have my glasses.
That far underwater. I couldn't see it.
I didn't have my glasses on either.
It was foggy.
But we hit a stump and it luckily caught the all aboard marine mount instead of the Ultrex shaft, but it pretty much folded it up under the boat almost, broke some welds and torqued it. So needless to say, us two big boys had to shut the cameras down for a little bit and try to bend and pry, and neither one of us could get it all bent back, so we just took the transducer off and put it on the Ultrex shaft. And you guys that have a separate mount versus the trolling motor shaft, you probably know how big of a pain in the butt that was the rest of the day, and it took a lot of getting used to, and basically kicked us off a spot lock, couldn't use it anymore, and it just threw us for a loop. And
not something we're used to.
No, at all. And
we use a spot lock pretty much 85% of the time.
We have really decided that we really don't like it on the trolling motor shaft even more now. So
some of you out there got boat control like you wouldn't believe, but guess what? We
Chad Metcalf, but
Nick the Wolf.
Yeah, but
no bunch of you.
We haven't learned from the masters yet, so
we're not there yet.
But
will we ever be there? Probably not.
No. I've got my mount, and like I say, this is nothing against all aboard marine. Those of you that have them, I mean, I've had that thing for I don't know 3 years.
3 years.
John's got one now, and we have put mine through everything in the world, and it has held up beautifully. So it wasn't anything against all aboard. We just literally hit a stump that was huge and going too fast, and it's my fault, completely my fault. But I got it taken off and up here at the local fab shop, and hopefully Mr. Hardy and Mr. Jimmy can get us taken care of and back on the water, or otherwise I'll have to get another one or something. But anyway, yeah, we won't fish another tournament without it again, I promise you. So
yep.
We like I say, the fog was really bad. We started off in an area that we had found fish on the week before, a little oxbow there just north of Huxley. Didn't get a chance to go out all week. I got busy and see if the fish were still there. Fish were still there, but they were a lot more scattered, and talking from everybody at the tournament, they all saw the same thing too. From the sounds of it, everybody that did well went way up north past Huxley, Chennahaw Creekish area, somewhere in there. But our big fish, there were no big fish there. I mean, we stuck pounding in 8-pound tens most of the day and smaller, and just never. I think our first crappie of the morning was 1.5 pounds, and I was excited. Hey, we're gonna have a good day, Tater. And it did not pan out that way. So, but
it was not what we had expected. You know, going to your home pond, being there, we've crappie fished it the last 5 or 6 years. Before live scope, we were catching good numbers. The lake was down like it is now, but it just didn't pan out for us. And then once that mount broke, it was like, well, all right, we get to regroup and learn something new today. And every time we fish, we learn something new. Practice, tournament day, every time we fish, we learn something new. We learn something from other people maybe, but most of the time, right here in the boat, me and Derek, one of the light bulbs goes off in our head, and we're like, oh, that's something else we can look at. That's something else we learned.
Maybe after a few years of all those light bulbs going off, we'll have us a complete set of Christmas lights, and we'll get all this stuff together. So.
That's right. But hey, I'll tell y'all something right now. These rods we're using, the Salters Elite Series, we've got 10, 12, 14 footers. We've actually got a couple of 7 footers that we shoot with, and hopefully before too much longer, we'll get to go back to using those rods to shoot with. But right now, what we're using, these Salters rods, man, they're incredible. Mr. JB built these things over 40 years ago, and Blaine, he's taken over the reins since Mr. Salters passed on, and Blaine's been nothing but awesome. He'll go out of his way to help you. They build a quality product at a really good price, and boat flipping 2-pound black crappie on Toledo bend is not an issue. Other thing we're using is Wicked Weights tungsten. We showed y'all last tournament that we used that ball jig. That ball jig right there is an 1/8 ounce, and everything we do is typically with this 1/8 ounce. There's 3/32, 16ths, and quarters, but this 1/8 ounce right here is the one we used 85–90% of the time. But what we've done, and we showed y'all that rig before, what we've done is this last tournament, we put us a mortar bomb up there at the top of our leader. You know, you can see that tungsten jig down there. It's great. But this right here does the same thing up above it. So you can either see this weight or you can see that jig, and you can drop down in the trees, you can drop down in whatever. As long as you can see that weight, we know what depth that jig is, because we run about a 2-foot leader off that swivel. Using the bobber stops with the mortar bomb on top and the ball jig on the bottom, Wicked Weights is hard to beat for us. Some people might agree, some people might disagree, but we don't use any kind of gel, we don't use any kind of slime, we don't use it. Only slime we use is catfish slime, and we try to get that off quick as possible.
There's some right here still.
There's probably some on one of these rods, but we that's our weight setup. K9 as always. We use 25-pound leader. A couple of these rods I think have 60-pound leaders on them. We use anywhere from 12 to 17-pound fluorocarbon leader, but our main line is always going to be K9 braid of some sort, and our leader material is going to be K9 fluorocarbon. And we get into them situations where we have to downsize, we will, but it's always going to be K9. And then we used jigs. We didn't hardly use any hand ties. We didn't use a hand tie at all, did we?
No.
No hand ties this time. We did use an electric chicken. You can call it a little minnow, electric chicken minnow. I don't even remember what brand it was, but it was a pretty good little old bait. Derek, he caught the bigger fish with it. I dropped minnows pretty much all day because they were working great last weekend. This weekend, they didn't do us very well.
Yeah, they seemed to, believe it or not, they didn't want the minnows. They wouldn't come after the minnows near as hard, but I said, what the heck, and dropped the electric chicken down there real quick, and it was getting hammered. So I don't understand that one. And like I said, that's one of those things that we're learning every day is crappie fishing, but some days they don't want that live minnow. So don't be afraid if you're not getting bites to drop something else down there, because you never know what you'll learn or find out. But electric chicken was the better bite and the better bait all day there. So
I had this plan in my head that I was going to have all 3 of my rods rigged up with nothing but minnows. Derek had his one rod with the jig. I can't tell y'all how many fish I missed all day. I miss fish all day. I don't hardly miss fish. If they bite, I'm gonna pull the trigger and we're gonna put it in the boat. I miss fish all day, and I put on electric chicken, and all of a sudden I started sticking them. So I don't know if they were coming up and just nipping that minnow and I wasn't giving it to them. I'm not sure. Don't know. It happens. We're learning, and if it wasn't for Derek, we wouldn't have had the bag we had, which wasn't a whole lot. We were about 2 pounds shy of what we expected we would have. You know, when you're catching 2-pound blacks out there on the edge of the river, tournament day comes and your biggest fish is
Catching
1.9 something.
Yeah, you're catching 1-pounders.
Everything we're catching is 1.25 pounds. We're like, oh, we thought about moving, and then we realized, you know, this is our confidence area. This is where we love to fish. This is our place.
Yeah, in hindsight, like I say, I've already gone over the footage. This is the last thing we're doing is recording this, but hindsight 2020, and of course the fog didn't help us any there, because John and I, neither one of us like to be on that main lake when it's foggy like that, because people run, and I don't like running in it, especially on a lake like Toledo with all the stumps and being low. But we should have abandoned. We should have went somewhere else. We stayed there way too long, and it bit us in the butt. Not saying we could have won it, but we should have done something different. So, like I say, we'll learn that and keep on going. But you know, that's what you know, teams for. Like I say, John's been the main fisherman, and I've been running. Especially when we broke the olive board off, we had to run the trolling motor even more. But I usually keep one rod by my side with a jig on it, just so I can, if he's changing or something happens, I can reach down and grab it right quick, and you know, get it down there quick. And that's what happened, and that's how we figured out the electric chicken deal. So you know, so it's a full team effort. No matter if somebody's struggling or on fire or what, net man, don't matter. It's a team effort. So we still had fun, tore up some stuff as usual. That's what we do. But we had fun, and we were down, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes or so on the water, but it worked out. So
we always have fun. And I'll say it again, I don't care how many times I net his fish, I've screwed up more than once. But this son of a gun right here, after 5 years of being fishing with him, ain't never missed a fish for me. That says a lot. So I don't know if he has more practice netting fish or setting the hooks on fish, but you know what? I wouldn't trade him for nothing.
That's right. You know, it's kind of like he always makes fun of me because I can throw up in a tree with a jig or a crankbait or something and get it out every time. And he says, I don't know how you do that. I said, it's because it's lots of practice, John. So I've had lots of practice getting them oopses out of the trees, and I've had lots of practice netting fish. So we'll leave it at that. But without further ado, let's get to some footage, and y'all enjoy. Appreciate y'all watching. Hey, one other thing. Once again, this crappie community, these guys that weigh in at Crappie Masters, no matter how big they are, and shout out, by the way, to Andrew Golden and his partner, and Chad Metcalf and his partner. They finished first and second, 2 locals here. So shout out to you guys.
Brandon Miles took third by himself.
Mr. Ezel's partner there, Mr. Bonehead. So you know, no surprise there, but he did do it by himself and finished third. So heck of a job by him too. And I don't think he'd been down here all that much. So, but once again, you guys, man, I encourage y'all to come out to a weigh-in. Our next tournament's on Rayburn, just to see the community and see the camaraderie that goes on, and it's just a whole different environment. And man, we're so happy to be a part of it. And I feel like we ought to have a notepad at every tournament, just writing down things that people say and listening. And so y'all hang with us, and we're gonna get better at this. And shout out to everybody that's watching, and appreciate you. And let's watch some fishing.
And if we don't see you again, hey, y'all have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Absolutely.
And just remember the reason for the season. Y'all go out, have fun, and here's the footage.
Number 154. 116. Oh yeah, that's a 116. 143, number 3. 23. One, two, three.
I got it neither. I know shit.
Set up wrong there.
I've never had done that.
108.
It was small, but I can get the fuck. That was a shot. You know? Back in the game. We can do this. That's one we won't. Shit. That's one that put us. Huh.
174.
There's that.
That's 7. 9 1/4. Is that a call the one you just caught? Seven 4.